In this video, I'm going to talk about Lab 1, how to create a program or write a program in Java and be able to compile it in Windows PC. So for my program, I'm not using an IDE. I'm actually using an editor, a text editor. In Windows, we have the default editor as Notepad. You can simply look for Notepad by searching Notepad and find the app. Once Notepad is open, you can start writing your program here. You can start writing our program. So in the first line here, these two symbols indicates that we're going to have a block comment. And for comments, the compiler is going to ignore all the comments as it goes through the program. So in this particular program, we had stated in our comment that this is an example program, and we are going to name it example.java. So for all the Java program that you create, you want to use the .java file format, because this is how the compiler is going to be able to identify that it is a Java program. After we completed the block comment, you need to start any Java program with a class. So now it's important that your file name and your public class name is exactly matching. So in this case, we have the class example with the capital E. We got to make sure that we name our file as example.java, because when you compile the program, what it's going to do is it's going to create a class object called example, and within that it will operate, execute the instructions following inside that class. So for this program, we have a class called example, and as you created the class, you want to open the curly brace following the statements inside that object class. So here we added a comment, a Java program with the call to main. So for a Java program, public static void main is the main function, and it needs its main function in order to execute. So inside the main, what we would have is we would have an output, a print line method to display the string or our text, Java drives the web. So the output for this program technically is Java drives the web. Now, the things that you need to look for is that you have to have appropriate opening and closing curly brace. Make sure that you have the proper typing or the proper keywords added within the program. So if I have string with the lowercase, it's going to catch that as an error. If I'm missing a semicolon at the end of that statement, it's also going to catch that as an error. So this is like a way that we can close out the statement using the semicolon, and we finish out the block with the closing curly brace, and we also finish out with the class with another closing curly brace. And this is important to look for when you create your program. So if it's throwing an error, most likely it's going to point to the area of the error in the error message. You need to go back and check your syntax, meaning that how you type, and make sure you type it correctly. After I create this program in Notepad or my text editor, and if you're using IDE, you would write it in the text editor portion of the IDE, then you can save the file. We're going to go ahead and save as. And in the instruction for the lab, I have you save it as desktop. Now, you can create a folder for your assignments. Just make sure that when you need to access that program, you have to use the command line and go to the appropriate directory or appropriate folder in order to see that program or see that file. So here what we're going to do is we are going to call this example.java, and you can change this to all files. And so what we want is we want to go ahead and click Save. I have already created one previously, so I just resaved it over. Now, when you finish with writing the program, then we would open up our command prompt in Windows by typing in CMD. So in command prompt, what we can do is we first need to navigate to the folder where that file is located. So since I save it on my desktop, I need to go to the directory desktop. So I would do CD for change directory desktop. Now, if you create another folder for your lab, you would have to go to that folder by doing change directory and then the folder name. Then I press enter. Here, what I can do is I will compile the Java file that I created in Notepad by using the javac command. Javac space example.java. So you simply follow javac with the file name that you have created. Then press enter. Now, if it's not throwing any error, that means that it compiles successfully. And we want to see the output in our console from that Java file. So we simply type in Java example. After you compile, after it compiled successfully, you don't need to use the extension for that file. You simply access the object class, which is example, to be able to see your output. So as it accesses object, it would print line, that's print ln, print line Java drives the web, which is the string that we created inside that main function in our example class.